Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast. We are about to go into Impact Wrestling, AEW, and a little New Japan Cup action with Jared and Ray. And let's get going with Tuesday Night Delight, Impact Wrestling. Tasha Steelz versus Naven. I got that right that time, didn't I?
Nevaeh.
Exactly. All right. So Kiera Hogan and Nevaeh with Havoc have a little match, and it was actually pretty doggone good, I felt like. Tasha got the schoolgirl roll-up win and flees. You like this part?
Yes. I like Tasha Steelz quite a bit. She's been growing on me since NWA. I like Nevaeh, too. I like whatever her and Havoc have going on.
I agree. I think I like them all dancing around each other for a little while, too, while we figure out where we go with them. Yep, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so then we wind up with a Busted Open Radio segment where they show Dave LaGreca and Tommy Dreamer talking to Deanna Prazo, and then they get interrupted by Jordani Grace, and she drops an F-bomb on the radio, which I thought was interesting. Diana calls her classless and then signs off. I thought that was a pretty cool little thing. Gave them a little of the rub of the big-time SiriusXM radio show that all the other stars get to be on because Dreamer works there. I like that all right. Then you had the Diana Purrazzo backstage segment where Jordani wanted to fight right then, but she said, we'll do this on my time, which I thought was fine. Then she winds up being interrupted by Eddie's lovely deadpan-voiced wife, Alisa, and she challenges her to the ring, and nothing gets me fired up like a monotoned person challenging someone to a fight.
It's kind of impressive. I thought that Nick Jackson had the most monotone voice in all of wrestling, but it appears that it is Alisa.
Alyssa, yes.
Alicia?
Yes, and they're going to fight, by golly.
She's a pretty good wrestler. I mean, she's not bad.
Yeah, she's not bad at all. Swinger invites Rich Swann to join up with the club, which, of course, Rich is not tempted to that, and then he goes back for his Rolodex. Excellent. Rolodexes are important to Impact throwback moment. Bubba Ray Dudley versus Devon. Could we get Bubba at Slammiversary? Oh, a Gallows sighting. Is he going to be? They're teasing us as what we're going to get at Slammiversary with all these stars, right? We get Aces and Eights here in a little bit, and that winds up being what they think will wind up being the thing. We'll get to that. We'll get there. Ethan Page isn't a Shamrock fan. Ken shows up, and they wind up challenging them to a fight. Ken says, I'll be your Huckleberry. And that's all good. I'm enjoying this so far. We get story time with Moose when he made the Pro Bowl. He's talking to guys backstage again, a couple of backstage segments in a row. He was showered with gifts. Crazy Steve interrupts and sings a song, Fake World Champ. I thought that was good. What'd you think?
I thought that segment was hilarious, how he was literally just like stopping guys when they walked by and forcing them to sit there and listen to him.
Yes.
And then being like, hey, you guys should be giving me gifts, actually. And they're like, oh, yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
Moose is the man. Okay, then we get the match, and I thought it was a well-done match between Alicia Edwards and Deanna Purrazzo. I thought that Purrazzo looked great. She worked the arm the whole time and then gets the armbar finish. It was exactly what I felt like she needed. You?
It was a good step. It was absolutely a good step.
Yeah. And Johnny Swinger obviously needs suicide, but, that's not going to happen. Then he decides he's going to get Hernandez to join up and loses a arm wrestling match on that one. And,
And Hernandez is juice, so that's not fair. Johnny Swinger's all natty.
Yeah. Hernandez is juicing on tequila and Corona. Okay, and then maybe some Soul beer. And then he decides to proposition Taya, which is not what you think. I think he said it's not what you think. And then
Yeah.
he lets Taya know that she could be the first woman to ever have an intergender wrestling match. I don't think he watches the product. And then she screams, "Bravo," to which he replies, "Dino, I love Dino. Tell him that I need a partner," to which he obviously does not watch Dark Side of the Ring either.
No. I love Johnny Swinger, man.
He's the greatest. Shamrock is jumped by both guys on the way to the ring, and we're going to start that feud, it looks like, which I'm all in with Shamrock's craziness. What did you think about all this little mess? Pretty good?
I liked how Shamrock just like went up to those guys during their backstage segment, and he was just like, "Hey, dumbass." I've never heard someone come on just so strongly like that, and it instantly, I don't know, just like set the mood right off the bat. I don't know. It was good. I thought it was good.
Absolutely, it was good. Absolutely. Okay, and so then we wind up with Susie versus Taya with Bravo ringside, and it almost felt. You mentioned to me that you thought it was a little bit slow.
It was a little slow at times, and I think that's due to Susie wrestling as her alternate persona and not as
Su Yung.
Su Yung.
Yeah, and I almost.
Like when you're wrestling, yeah.
Go ahead.
When you're wrestling as Susie, you end up, like, her moveset's just, like, different, and it can't be as, like, brutal in some ways. So her having to work around that limitation while probably still not being all that comfortable with it, because she wrestled for it for a little while before the pandemic, and then, you know, since then, how much has she wrestled?
Right.
Not like a whole lot.
Right.
But yeah, it was a little off in some places. It felt like it was getting there at the end, but it was just a little off.
Agree. And I do feel like Taya was probably trying to bring Su Yung out for whatever reason. It felt that way, and I would love it if they would let that run a little bit further, because it looks like, of course after the match is over, Taya decides to continue the beatdown, and Kylie Ray comes out, and it looks like they're going to get into some form of a feud, and I'm all for Kylie Ray going over Taya to get to a better spot in the company. It won't hurt Taya any after the run she had earlier as the champ. But I would love to see the spin out of this be a Su Yung winding up somewhere weird in a Taya, Rosemary, Bravo. Dude, the weirdness they could give us with those four in a backstage segment. You see,
please give it to me. I demand it.
Right. With Rosemary trying to date Bravo while Su Yung is against marriage altogether for obvious reasons, or more than willing to be at the wedding for obvious reasons, to kill everybody there. You know. Okay, Madman Fulton and Ace are now an official couple of wrestlers, and they are going to take over the world, and I do not doubt that at all. Chris Bay, Johnny Swinger, and Rohi Rajun. Yes, he got traded a used car and a match in order to. Okay, Jake Diener, Cody Diener, Willie Mack, and we wind up with what I thought was a fun little time with Chris Bay going over. He's fantastic. He hits that great second rope famouser for the win. And then we're going to move forward. I like Rohi, and I want them to figure out something to do with him. I love Bay. Everybody that was in the ring, I like.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, Reno Scum and Fallah TJP kind of get on each other backstage, and they're going to wind up getting into something soon. Eddie Edwards. Go ahead.
I did actually want to talk about that segment for a little bit.
Please do.
The segment starts out with Reno Scum harassing, oh my God, what's his name? The guy that was on the computer. He's D'Lo?
Oh, yes. D'Lo Brown. Absolutely.
They walk up and they start harassing him about being basically like a shoot now instead of what he was in Aces and Eights.
Right. Again,
this segment moves forward like 3 different plot lines. Like it moved forward what they were doing with the Aces and Eights thing later. It moved forward the feud between Reno Scum and Fallah and TJP. And it also mentioned other stuff that was happening on the program. I just felt when I watched it, I was like, man, this feels like a real TV show where things are connected.
Right. You get the Rascals. You get Aces and Eight. You get the obvious thing, which is these two guys don't like each other. And you're able to... that's why the show is so great. It just makes sense, and they don't need a lot of money to do it. You know? It just...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Eddie Edwards winds up with Madman Fulton, with Ace Austin on the side helping out Fulton if he needs it. Eddie's an all-effort guy. Every match for him, he really goes all out. That suicide dive he had where he went through, I would say like a bullet, but he ain't that fast. But you know what I mean. He hit Fulton going full blast right there.
It was crazy. Dude, just, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's kind of what makes Eddie Edwards so valuable to the company.
Right, because you know he's giving you everything. I mean, he's... even if you don't want him to be... as much as I'm not an Elgin guy, right? The feud you had with Elgin and him, it was interesting in its own way. And because it was... if it had been with anybody else, who would have cared? But it was Eddie. You know what I mean? He can take anything, and he doesn't need a belt to be important to the show. And in a weird way, Impact manages to have a lot of people that can fill that role, which most companies don't. You know? I mean, this show... it's
one of their biggest strengths. Yeah. I don't know. It's just... I don't know. They're a good company. They're just a good company.
Correct. Now, Fulton winds up... this is the first time in a while we've seen him look like a monster in a match, and he goes over looking like a monster, you know? And I like how they've recreated this guy. I like that Fulton catches Eddie in midair, deep sixes him, you know, boom. I love the episode. We finish it up with D'Lo getting the band back together. And I don't know about you, but when D'Lo said, hey, I'm thinking about getting the band back together, the first thing that went through my mind was I cannot wait to see Mark Henry, Ron Simmons, The Rock, and D'Lo Brown hit that stage with the Nation of Domination.
Absolutely. I know you have to think of a different name. The Country of Power or something like that.
Yes.
Switch it up a little bit, you know, copyright and all that.
Domination of a Nation?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
D-O-N. Don. We're the Dons. D-O-N. That's
Managed
it.
by Don Callis, of course.
Yes. Or it could be Aces and Eights. Who knows, right? One or the other. Coin flip. Which one we'll get?
Excited for both.
Okay.
I'll hedge my bets and be excited for both of them equally.
On to the nation's top wrestling program of the week. Now, we open Dynamite with Wardlow versus Luchasaurus. And it's a lumberjack match, and it's everything you think it should be when you have guys like Marco Stunt willing to take crazy bumps. Wardlow winds up getting the win on the interference by MJF, and then there's a brawl post-match. What did you think about this?
I did want to shout out the Best Friends for actually dressing like lumberjacks. I feel like it adds so much to the match to have actual lumberjacks there.
Agreed.
And the match was also good.
I'm just a big fan. I did not think when these guys walked out there that this was going to be as much fun as it was. And it was
absolutely.
It was everything good about what this company does. And it doesn't take itself too seriously. Sometimes that frustrates me, but this was perfectly done to me. You had two guys that were big bruisers. They were able to showcase why they're probably part of the future of where this company winds up going, while also showcasing rivalries that are going to happen by the interactions that happen outside of the rings with the Lumberjacks. I thought it was really well done. Then we have a Britt Baker segment. That is what it is. I think I've made my opinions on those things pretty well known. Hikaru Shida versus Red Velvet. We wind up with And there'll be several Brits, so we'll talk about them maybe at some point a little more detail. Hikaru Shida versus Red Velvet. I don't know Red Velvet, but she's in the wrong place at the wrong time because Shida gets mad at Penelope on the walk out. Basically does two moves, a knee to the face and a Falcon Arrow, and then she goes right back after Penelope, winds up smacking Kip, and you said she did something else?
She smacks Kip, she breaks his glasses. Like he's standing there, he's got like one of the lenses popped out, and he doesn't even realize for a couple seconds. But she also, like, Ricky Starks is like holding her back, and she just like elbows him right in the mouth.
Yeah, it was funny too because you could tell like Ricky was trying to hold her back without like touching her with his hands.
Yeah, dude, social distancing, you know, but you still don't want to.
Well, yeah, and in this
let her go.
In this day and age too, you don't want to be too grabby when you're trying to separate people. And he was on the wrong side of her to do it with his hips or shoulders or whatever, right? So he had to. It was funny to watch him try to navigate those tricky waters.
It's like he probably should have just rotated around her.
I don't think she was having it though. Okay, but it was fun. I enjoyed this segment too. We're
dangerous competitors.
Absolutely. We were off to a good start here, and it got better because the man himself, Cody Rhodes, has got a press conference with Jake Hager, and Hager's late, and Arn Anderson does something, and then we get the best promo in the biz, guys. He talks about hope. Cody gets in there, talks about hope. He shoots on the entire AEW product. He doesn't cosplay wrestling. He likes to wrestle. He likes to taste his own blood. Dude.
My dude. This is the heeliest promo yet, dude. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I enjoyed this segment quite a bit because I feel like Cody's doing a fantastic job.
He's slowly driving himself into the waiting arms of Follow the Rules.
Dude, just like his turn, and he's like, last week he was talking about how he wasn't, like, is he even in the elite anymore? They didn't even show up to help him.
Dude,
stuff like that. Like, it's just, we're slowly rotating away from who Cody was, and I'm excited about that.
And both those other guys look like Arn Anderson. I mean, if you're going to start a Four Horsemen, picking two guys that look like Arn Anderson's a good place to start.
That's so fun. They look like if they fused together and aged 20 years, they would literally just be Arn Anderson.
Right. Okay. And so he does talk. He also talks about giving hope to the world through the pandemic. He talks about giving hope to Ricky Starks. The guy had $3 in his bank account when he gets in the ring. He's got a contract with the hottest new wrestling promotion in the world when he walks out of the ring. You know, it's
Cody did all of that. That was all Cody.
Exactly.
Cody did that.
And the cool thing is, Cody did that both in kayfabe, right? In the world where he's trying to turn himself heel, but in reality, it's also all Cody that did that. So it's great that he can be a heel while simultaneously giving us all hope and a chance to be better than we were the day before. And I want to thank you, Cody Rhodes, for doing that for us. And I'm going to get on Pro Wrestling Tees right now. You can go out there and you can get you 3 fake neck tattoos, guys. And I think we should all get them and put them on our foreheads whenever AEW starts touring again. That's what I'm saying we do, guys. So we'll see. Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela action series continues as they get into another gas station fight. And this was fine. I think it showed a little bit of... I didn't mind it. I thought it was fine. You liked it?
I liked it. I liked the production on it.
Agreed. Now, Colt Cabana and Brody Lee approach the ring as we're trying to recruit Colt into being a winner. And they fight Kiss and Joey. And I thought this was a good match. I thought Colt going over was fun. I thought Armstrong attacking the good guys after the match was over. I didn't really get it, but whatever. He needs to be hitting somebody. We hadn't seen him in a while, and I just don't know where you go with that. Like, why is he beating them up? But by the same token, I thought this was a good segment.
He's saying Armstrong. Are you thinking of Lance Archer?
I am thinking of Lance. You know what? I wrote Lance Armstrong.
that is a different person.
A heel all the same, though. His heel turn was his heel turn was probably the greatest heel turn in the history of sports. But we'll digress. Yes, Lance Archer was actually the villainous murder hawk who attacked. And little surprised that it seemed like Jake was trying to hold him back a little bit. Like Jake's losing control of his man.
Yeah, that's what it seems like, which I think is fine.
Right, well, he needs to, because they have a lot of managers on this show that do control their clients a little bit more than maybe I would like. So having one go unhinged and uncontrollable would be cool. Now, Shawn Spears, they're going to give you a highlight here of what happened on AEW Dark. And they're going to show him load up his glove. Tully's going to give him a thing. He loads up his glove and he knocks the guy out that he's wrestling. I thought that was well done as well. Then we get Britt Baker again, and then we get a match with Follow the Rules, or whatever you want to call them, versus SCU. And I thought this was really good. What did you think?
I loved this match. This match was fantastic to me. I don't know, because I don't have that much experience with FTR outside of this company. I watched them on main roster Raw or whatever, but not their best work. But during this match, I finally saw, because their gimmick is almost kind of boring to me in a way, where it's just I don't know, following the rules in a tag match. I'm not that big on tags, and I like the Lucha Brothers style of it. But when I watched this match, I was like, man, this is just a really well-paced, well-structured match with incredible performers. And I was like, man, this match rules.
Well, the other thing is, too, they're only going to follow the rules when it's to their advantage. They're heels.
Yeah, that's the thing. I noticed that, too, where I was just they're just kind of, at a certain point, their matches do end up being like how tag matches end up, and I thought that was funny.
Right, and they'll quicken the pace along with whomever they're wrestling, you know what I mean? It'll still stay a bruising, but yeah. Anyway, it gets better, too, to me, because you do have the Butcher and the Blade try to steal their car, which, again, I'm not sure why these things are okay in wrestling, but they seem to be frowned upon in the real world. But it does heighten the show up a little bit when somebody's in your vehicle and it's a pretty truck. And the Lucha Brothers sneak up from behind, and then we wind up with a little back and forth, and the Young Bucks come out to save the day. And we're going to get FTR and the Young Bucks versus Butcher, Blade, Lucha Bros. And as long as this doesn't turn into FTR and the Young Bucks doing a whole anything you can do, I can do better, and they allow the Lucha Brothers to be the Lucha Brothers, I'm all for this little 8-man thing we're going to get.
Oh, it could be incredible.
It
probably will be incredible.
I've missed the Lucha Brothers. More so than anybody on this show, I've missed Pentagon. I love the guy. You know what I mean? And we're getting him back is great for this division and for just wrestling in general. We get another little video package with Chuck Taylor, Trent, and Hangman and Omega. Again, the company is starting to hit its stride on these type of things. This was a good segment explaining the differences between the two and explaining. Did you like this segment?
I actually loved this segment. I thought this segment it told me everything I needed to know, and it fleshed everyone out more. I just felt like I came out of that knowing exactly what's going on, exactly what the stakes are, and all of that. I just felt it. I'm going to feel emotion watching this match.
Yeah. They've done some really good things here. They're kind of finding those sweet spots. Then we wind up with Brian Cage and Taz, and Taz gives he approaches the announcer's desk and says a couple of things. Cage winds up doing the squash ragdoll style squash match. Taz calls it a BS excuse that Mox isn't there. Nice, considering his wife has COVID. But then he dialed it back. I almost feel like Taz said that, and the guy behind the camera looked at him like, dude. And he dialed it back, because he did finish it up with a little something like, Cage is more dangerous than what you're dealing with now. That, you know what I mean? He almost kind of dialed it back a little. So I thought I did like the promo.
Well,
I thought Bully Ray got the line of the week.
Yes, I've been thinking about that line all week. Bully Ray said, I'm really hyped for Taz versus Jon Moxley, because that's the rivalry they're building up right now.
Ouch.
Surprised Bully didn't get some hate for that.
What'd you think about it all there,
What'd you think?
I thought the segment was fine. I actually disagree with Bully Ray. Surprise, surprise. But, I mean, because on one hand, I think Taz is a great talker, and I do think he's building Brian Cage up. Like, I don't think he's putting himself over. Like, sometimes I felt like Jake Roberts was putting himself over, but I don't really get that same vibe with Taz.
Agreed. Now, then we're going to go through, and they give us a rundown of what we're going to have for the remainder, for the next 2 nights of Dynamite. Tell me what you think about this. Jurassic Express versus MJF and Wardlow. Private Party versus Santana and Ortiz. Penelope Ford versus Hikaru Shida. Cody versus Hagar. Omega and Page versus Best Friends. Now, that's night 1. Archer versus Bad Boy Joey Janela. Nyla Rose in action. SCU versus Stu Colt and Brody. Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. The Bucks and FTR versus Lucha Bros. And B&B with no B. Mox versus Cage. What do you think about that?
I feel like just there's a lot on night 2, and I feel like that may end up being a detriment because there's a lot on night 2. I do wonder if they shouldn't switch something over to night 1 because there's a lot going on. Maybe some of those things won't be very long, but it seems like a lot to fit into 2 hours. But for how the card looks, it looks pretty great. I like most of the matches, and I think some of them, like Omega Page and Best Friends, are going to be bangers.
Agree. I liked it too. More Britt Baker as the 3-sided cage is fully protecting her, sort of. Big Swole manages to find a way through the back of the 3-sided cage and dumps garbage upon her. She should have probably seen that coming, but she was drinking margaritas the whole night, so things went out of hand on her. Paige was. Britt Baker was. And what did you think about this?
I thought it was fine. I think it's continuing it, and I don't know, just watching someone get garbage dumped on them is always a good time.
Always a good time. I would like to see Swole in something like this where because we're supposed to be seeing her personality a little more, right?
Right.
And saying 2 words and then doing something physical is not really, you know what I mean? To me, there's a way to do this that showcases her a little differently, but whatever. We're going somewhere, and if Britt isn't harmed badly and she's able to come back fairly soon, Swole being in a feud with her in the ring will be advantageous to Swole's career. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Britt will probably drop her directly on her head or shoulder or something, and that's always an improvement.
Correct. Damascus versus Santana. He took a poll online, which him you wanted to deal with, and he got it. Hardy winds up winning in a competitive match. In a way, I was like, man, I miss LAX. I miss seeing how great these guys could be. But in another way, I thought to myself, well, shucks, he basically got almost a main event with Hardy, and he got to wrestle by himself for a while. So maybe I'm being a little silly. Maybe Santana did get to showcase himself as a singles wrestler a little bit, where the singles wrestler winds up going over. Maybe it was better than I thought. I mean, I enjoyed watching it for sure. I thought Matt is pretty good for a guy that doesn't move around as well as he used to. He's actually moving pretty good for him. You enjoyed the match?
Yes, I enjoyed the match.
And then as they jump on, Private Party comes out and clears the way. And the main event of the evening is not actually a main event of the evening because it is a talk-off where Jericho tells us why the chicken crossed the road multiple times. And then he lets us know that the relation to Orange Cassidy here is that Orange Cassidy is a joke. And I thought this was well done. I liked it when Cassidy did exactly what Jericho warned him to do. They got into it. I felt bad that he got his ear busted open somewhere in there, Orange did. But we cut to the end with a bloody Cassidy standing tall as Jericho is not. And this was the proper ending to the episode, I felt like. What did you think about all that?
I thought the episode as a whole was fantastic. I really, really liked this episode. They have been hitting it out of the park.
What did you think about this last segment?
Oh, the last segment specifically? I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for the match as much as any other guy, but I guess I would have preferred if it had been like a match to end the show.
Right. I get what you're saying. Like, they could have flip-flopped Damascus versus Santana and this, and that would have made a little more sense, right? I get it. Now, you watched...
That's a nitpick. I'm not that worried about it.
Right. Now, what did you think about this week's action in the New Japan Cup? Can you give us some updates on that?
Yes. So the matches that I would recommend would be Ishii versus El Desperado. This is a match that was not originally planned in the Cup because foreign talent can't get into the country. So they kind of filled the spots with the junior division. So this is a matchup that you would basically never see anywhere else because El Desperado always sticks around in the junior division, and he's actually taller than Ishii, which I thought was funny. But Ishii is built like a refrigerator, roughly fire hydrant shaped.
I thought this was a good match. I thought they got after.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought that it was cool that I really believed multiple times that Desperado was going to pull it out.
Right.
And Ishii always has great matches. Now on to the next day, Yuji Nagata versus Minoru Suzuki. We watched this match together, and it was rough. It was good, but it was hard hitting. Like they were just really smacking the snot out of each other.
Right.
And that's exactly what I want from a Suzuki match.
Right.
Nagata goes over, and he goes on later to face Okada, which was also a good match. I do want to give a special shout out to Sho versus Shingo Takagi, which was a match that they've done. I think they've only had one singles match before this, but they've been teasing this feud like ever since Shingo came to New Japan. And in this time, Sho manages to get a win over Shingo, which is fan-freaking-tastic. I'm over the moon for him because I really like Sho.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a surprise,
awesome.
Right?
It was, well, yes. Yeah, because Shingo went on his tear in the junior division where he was like undefeated up until the Best of the Super Junior finals. But Sho versus Shingo was like my sleeper pick for match of the tournament for Best of the Super Juniors last year. So I was excited to see this. I was excited to see Sho go over, and I'm assuming that he will challenge for Shingo's never openweight title, which should be another banger. This, again, tournament formats, dude. Tournament formats. They're so good, especially when you have if you pin the champion, you get a title shot for that.
Right.
With that clause, tournaments turn into, it's just like four-dimensional chess.
Well, and you also wind up, the fact that two guys are teammates doesn't matter anymore because the world title is in the picture.
Absolutely, and I wanted to bring up specifically with LIJ, there was a tag match earlier in the tournament where Shingo didn't put his fist up for the fist bump, which, I mean, people always jump to conclusions when this happens, but it happens every single tournament with at least one member of LIJ, where they're just like, listen, I like you guys, but I'm focusing, and I might have to fight you.
Mm-hmm.
But afterwards, everything's cool. It's not a group is breaking apart thing. It's just They got a lot on their minds. They might have to face you guys later. They really need to go in with a clear head. And they're not going to hold back.
Exactly.
Which I love.
Right. Now,
Taichi versus Tanahashi, not the outcome a lot of people were expecting, but I was always rooting for our Holy Emperor. Taichi goes over in a great match. I thought it really picked up in the last little bit there. It was awesome. I loved it. Did you guys see that match?
yeah, it was great.
I loved it. I love how Taichi's just like this weird cowardly heel that every once in a while just like channels the spirit of Kawada, who trained him, and just like starts kicking fools in the head. It's great. It's the dynamic I love, and he rips his pants off.
Yeah.
What more could I possibly want from a wrestler?
There you go. There you go. Now, did you like the Sonata match?
The first round was Sonata versus Taguchi, which was Taguchi can go when you need him to. Taguchi's kind of he's a little older, but anytime they need him to go in one of these matches, he can go, and it's great. I liked the dynamic between him and Sonata, how he kept trying to do the Paradise Lock, but he doesn't really know how to. So
Right.
he just messes it up every time. It's great. It was a good mix of comedy and I don't know. It was just good. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Then moving on to the 23rd, not incredibly impressed with any of the matches on this card. I thought Kojima Evil was good, but not quite as good as I wanted it to be. I was expecting it to be more of a slam down knockout match, but I did enjoy the tag match quite a bit. With it had like Naito and Okada and Yano and Hiromu. I don't know. That match was great, and it set up the match for Yano and Hiromu the next night, which was incredible. I loved it. The very first 8-star finish to a match.
Yes. Yes. You know so.
The big
Go ahead.
The big crux of the match is that back in 2011, when Hiromu was a young lion, Yano, while he was still doing his like mean Yakuza bruiser type deal, instead of his like funny man type deal that he's currently doing, he like shaved Hiromu's head, but only part of it, like in the ring. So ever since then, Hiromu's been terrified of Yano cutting his hair, especially now that his hair is long and luxurious.
Right.
So a lot of the match revolved around him being terrified, him coming to the ring with a helmet, and him being terrified of Yano with scissors and clippers. And Yano did manage to get a little bit of hair. But as Yano attempted to keep cutting the hair, he taped Hiromu to Yoda Tsuji, who's the young lion, but Hiromu manages to get the tape, tape his legs, Yano's legs together, and then put tape over his eyes, and then throw him in the elevator. And then Yano goes down a couple of floors. Hiromu manages to make it back to the ring in time for the 20 count. Yano does not because he's 4 floors down, and Hiromu picks up the win. What do you think of the finish?
I thought it was clever. I thought it was very clever. I enjoyed it. I felt like I don't know why I didn't the third time I think he wound up with scissors, I really started getting a kick out of it. For whatever reason, you know what I mean? And then of course
he had like hidden them around the like location. He just had them hidden places, which is hilarious.
Right, everywhere you turn. Everywhere you turn.
It.
Anything else you want to talk about on the Okada match? You want to talk about Okada? You said it was pretty good.
Yes, Okada versus Nagata was. I felt like Okada wore the black hat a little bit, in that he was kind of the younger, cocky competitor compared to Nagata being the kind of grizzled old veteran, which I think is always a really fun dynamic. Nagata gave him quite a bit of trouble, but Okada manages to pull it out. And I did want to give a shout out to Ishii versus Makabe, because I thought Makabe really tried, and it was a hard-hitting, incredibly good affair. I loved it. I mean, it was, if you like slapping meat, big meaty men slapping meat,
Big E.
that match is for you. If Big E turn on your location, watch this match.
Right. Now,
you'll love it.
is Ishii have the 2 best matches of the tournament so far?
I would say yes. Yes, so far Ishii, unsurprisingly, has been the backbone. Because you could literally throw that dude in there with like a stick, and he'd have a 4-star match.
Mm-hmm. Now,
he's incredible.
Now, are you excited about? I'm kind of excited about the Evil Goto match. I think
that has the potential to be off the chain.
Right. I feel like it's time for Evil and Sonata to either get to the finals or they're never going to really be that. You know what I mean?
Sonata has time.
I don't
think Evil.
I do feel like Evil needs to go further. But that would mean serving up Goto a big L right around his birthday, which is rough.
I think that's what's coming.
But
another Goto L? How surprising, said not me.
What? Goto's not going to win the belt? Who would have guessed?
Right. They don't treat Goto fair. They don't treat Goto fair on the show. Okay. So, what are we looking forward to coming up?
Personally, I'm looking forward to Ishii versus Hiromu Takahashi. You're a big Ishimori guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's facing Okada, which could be off the chain. Ishimori might have the strategic advantage of being too short for the Rainmaker. He might just be able to slide right under.
Yes.
But Okada hasn't been using the Rainmaker. He's been using the $1 Million Dream.
I actually want to point that out that he has been using this kind of newish submission, which I think is, I'm not like huge on it. It's not my favorite.
It's not new,
submission, but I do like that he's diversifying.
It's not a new. He's been using that thing for a while, hasn't he?
I don't. It's not. It's like it's not red ink or whatever the other one is. I don't know.
But no, he's been using it.
Other match I'm looking forward to is Taichi versus Ibushi. I don't know. That could end up being a banger. I hope that's one of those matches where those dudes just have like really good chemistry, because that could be awesome. Again, I'm a huge Taichi mark. I've been a fan of this guy because for the longest time watching New Japan, when I started, I was just like, what is this dude's deal? He shows up to the ring and the pants ripping thing, yeah. But he's not like that good. And then as time went on, I got it more, and he got better, and he got featured more. And every time he rips the pants off, I just lose my mind. I'm just like, let's frickin' go, dude.
Right.
Tanahashi only lasted a minute and a half with the pants off. That kind of power is unparalleled.
Right.
You can't control that power.
No. Can't control the power with the pants off.
Let's see what Ibushi has as an answer against the pants. And I'm guessing his answer to the pants is going to be getting dropped on his head. Don't quote me on that.
Right. All right. So you had a good week watching wrestling.
Great week, honestly. This ended up being kind of knocking it out of the park for just being just a wonderful week of wrestling. I mean, I'm overjoyed to have New Japan back, so that's definitely part of it. But it was just a great week of wrestling.
Right. No low points.
No low points.
Right. We'll take it. All right, buddy. So for Jared, for Go Home Heat Kid Ray, from EKP, copyright 2020. This has been a Go Home Heat production. Go home.